All right, welcome to your deep dive.
Excited to be here.
We're going to be looking at a talk titled Sisters' Participation in the Gathering of Israel
Okay.
by Russell M. Nelson from back in 2018.
All right.
Now, even if you're not familiar with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints or the concept of gathering Israel, don't worry.
Right.
We're going to be unpacking some fascinating ideas
Yeah.
about the unique roles women play and the power of really focusing on your spiritual purpose.
It's really amazing, even within a specific religious context, how there are universal themes that can resonate with really anyone who's seeking a deeper understanding of themselves and their place in the world.
Absolutely. And Nelson kicks things off with this story about accidentally calling himself Mother
Oh, yeah.
while he was speaking in South America. A pretty funny anecdote.
Yeah.
But it really makes you wonder,
Yeah.
you know, what it reveals about his subconscious.
Totally.
I mean, Freudian slips are fascinating, right?
They really are. They offer a glimpse into those deeper layers of the psyche.
Yeah.
The things we might not even be consciously aware of. And in this case, it seems to underscore Nelson's deep respect for women and their influence.
Yeah.
He even mentions yearning to be a mother himself, having raised 9 daughters.
9 daughters. Wow, that's a powerful female presence to grow up around.
Absolutely.
It makes his expanded definition of motherhood even more intriguing.
Yeah.
He says every woman is a mother
Okay.
because of her eternal divine destiny,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of whether she is biologically or adoptively a mother.
Interesting.
That really stretches our traditional understanding of motherhood, doesn't it?
It does. It really challenges us to look beyond the conventional roles and consider the core qualities of what makes someone a mother.
Right.
Regardless of gender or biological ties, you know, the nurturing, the empathy, the fierce protectiveness.
Yeah.
We see these qualities celebrated in different ways across cultures.
Mm.
For example, in some indigenous cultures, certain women known as aunties play a vital role in raising and mentoring children within the community, even if they haven't given birth themselves.
That's a beautiful example.
Yeah.
It shows how the essence of motherhood can manifest in these various forms, breaking free from those traditional limitations.
Yeah.
And speaking of breaking free,
Okay.
Nelson then goes on to highlight the unique spiritual gifts and propensities he sees in women.
Okay.
He talks about their ability to sense others' needs, to offer comfort, to teach, and to lead with strength.
Right.
He even contrasts these qualities with what he sees as typical masculine tendencies,
Interesting.
emphasizing the vital importance of women's perspectives.
That comparison definitely raises questions about gender roles.
Yeah.
And whether he's reinforcing traditional expectations or simply celebrating the diversity of strengths.
Right.
It's interesting to consider how research on gender differences in communication and empathy might tie into this. For example, studies have shown that women on average tend to have a higher capacity for emotional empathy, allowing them to tune into others' feelings more readily.
Right.
Now, of course, these are generalizations and individual variations always exist.
Course. But it's fascinating to see how these broader patterns might play out in how we understand and value these different strengths and perspectives.
Absolutely.
And then things take a really unexpected turn when he talks about Eve's role in the fall.
Yeah.
Instead of portraying her as the temptress, he frames her choice as this wise and courageous act that actually moved God's plan forward.
Huh.
What do you make of that?
It's a bold reinterpretation
Yeah.
that really challenges the more traditional interpretations of the fall.
Yeah.
It's important to remember that the story of Adam and Eve has been interpreted in a myriad of ways throughout history and across different theological perspectives.
Yeah.
For some, Eve represents disobedience and temptation,
Right.
while others see her as a symbol of curiosity, knowledge, and even liberation. Nelson's interpretation aligns with a more progressive view that sees Eve's actions as a catalyst for human growth and understanding, even though it came at a cost.
It definitely sparks a debate.
It does.
It makes you think about the power of perspective and how the same story can be understood in radically different ways.
Yeah.
Then he lays out 4 specific actions he wants women to take.
Okay.
First up is a 10-day fast from
Okay.
social media and any negative media.
Wow.
It's like a total digital detox.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that, especially given how plugged in we all are these days?
Honestly, even as someone who thrives on staying informed and connected, the idea of a digital detox is incredibly appealing.
Yeah.
We're bombarded with so much information, much of it negative,
Right.
that it's easy to feel overwhelmed and depleted.
Yeah.
And neuroscience is starting to back this up. Studies show that taking even short breaks from social media can lead to reduced anxiety,
Mm.
improved sleep, and increased focus.
It's like giving your brain a chance to breathe and reset, isn't it?
Mm,
I'm curious, though, how do you balance staying informed with protecting your mental and emotional space?
that's the million-dollar question.
Right.
It's a constant dance, finding that sweet spot where you're engaged with the world,
Yeah,
but not letting it consume you.
right.
I think mindfulness plays a huge role here,
Yeah,
being intentional about what you consume and setting boundaries to protect your well-being.
that's great advice.
Thanks.
Okay, challenge number 2 is to read the Book of Mormon by the end of the year
Okay.
and really focus on the Savior's role.
All right.
Now, I know this is a specifically religious text, but for those who aren't familiar, can you give us some context?
Sure. The Book of Mormon is a key text for Latter-day Saints,
Uh-huh.
alongside the Bible.
Right.
It claims to be an ancient record of prophets in the Americas, offering additional teachings about Jesus Christ and his mission.
Okay.
Even if you approach it from a purely historical or literary perspective,
Yeah.
it offers fascinating insights into themes of faith, repentance, and redemption.
So there's depth to explore there, regardless of your personal beliefs.
Absolutely.
And then we come to Nelson's third invitation, regular temple attendance to connect with God's power.
Okay.
This taps into a concept that transcends any one religion,
Right.
the idea of sacred spaces and rituals.
Absolutely.
Right? You see this across cultures and throughout history.
Yeah.
Ancient temples, mosques, cathedrals, meditation retreats,
Mm-hmm.
they all offer a space set apart from the ordinary,
Yeah.
a place to connect with something larger than yourself.
Exactly. They create a container for a specific kind of energy or intention.
Uh-huh.
It's fascinating how different cultures and religions have developed their own unique ways of creating these sacred spaces and rituals.
It really highlights the universal human need for connection
Yeah.
and transcendence.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the final challenge Nelson issues is for women to fully participate in Relief Society
Okay.
and study its purpose statement.
Right.
Now, for those unfamiliar, what exactly is Relief Society?
It's the women's organization within the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints,
Uh-huh.
and it's actually one of the oldest and largest women's organizations in the world, dating back to the 1840s.
Wow.
It focuses on service, spiritual growth, and building community among women.
It's interesting to see how it mirrors the goals of many secular women's organizations.
Totally.
Empowerment, support, creating positive change.
It really does. It shows how the desire to connect with other women and work together for a common purpose
Yeah.
goes beyond religious boundaries.
Now, all of these ideas tie back to the talk's overarching theme, the gathering of Israel.
Right.
For someone outside the faith, this might sound a bit mysterious.
Sure.
Can you break it down for us?
Essentially, within the Latter-day Saint faith, gathering Israel refers to the gathering of God's people in preparation for the second coming of Jesus Christ.
Okay.
It encompasses physical gathering, spiritual unity, and missionary work.
So it's about coming together, both physically and spiritually,
Yeah.
to prepare for a future event.
Exactly. It's about creating a sense of belonging, purpose, and shared faith, working towards a common goal.
And while the specific interpretation might be unique to the Latter-day Saint faith,
Right.
that desire to come together and build a better world resonates far beyond any one religion, doesn't
It
it?
absolutely does. That yearning for unity and purpose is something we all share,
Yeah.
regardless of our backgrounds or beliefs.
That's a great point. And it leads us to a really important question.
Okay.
This talk was directed towards women.
Right.
But how do these ideas apply to everyone, regardless of gender?
That's where it gets really interesting. We've explored Nelson's unique perspective on motherhood,
Yeah.
the spiritual gifts he sees in women,
Yeah.
and the challenges he issues.
Right.
But what if we step back and consider the broader implications?
What if we look for those universal truths that
What do you mean?
resonate with all of us,
Yeah.
regardless of our gender or belief system?
Exactly. Because at the heart of this talk are some fundamental questions about purpose, identity, and the power of using your unique gifts to make a difference.
Right.
And those are questions worth pondering no matter who you are.
Absolutely. So let's shift gears a bit and talk about how these ideas can be applied to your life no matter what your background or beliefs might be.
Okay.
We've discussed a lot,
Yeah.
from redefining motherhood to digital detoxes to sacred spaces.
Right.
What stands out to you so far?
What resonates most deeply, and how might you connect these concepts to your own journey of self-discovery and purpose?
Great question.
I'm looking forward to diving into that.
Me too.
Yeah.
Let's take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Sounds good.
It's like we're taking these seemingly specific religious concepts and we're finding these universal threads that connect us all.
Exactly. And that's what makes this deep dive so fascinating.
Yeah.
It's not just about understanding one person's perspective or even one faith's teachings.
Right.
It's about sparking those deeper questions within ourselves.
One thing that really struck me was Nelson's statement that everyone has a divine destiny to fulfill.
Right.
It makes you think, what unique gifts do I bring to the world? What are those strengths and passions that set my soul on fire?
And how can you use those gifts to make a difference, to leave your mark on the world in a way that feels authentic and meaningful to you?
Right.
It doesn't have to be grand or world-changing.
Yeah.
It could be as simple as brightening someone's day, lending a helping hand, or sharing your unique talents with those around you.
I love that. It's about recognizing that power within you and choosing to use it for good in whatever way feels right for you.
Precisely. It's about aligning yourself with that deeper purpose and letting it guide your actions.
Now, earlier we talked about Nelson's call for a 10-day digital detox.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the science behind how media consumption, especially negative news, can impact our brains. Could you expand on that a bit? What's actually happening in our brains when we're constantly plugged in?
Sure. Our brains are wired to pay attention to threats.
It's a survival mechanism from our evolutionary past.
Oh, wow.
So when we're constantly exposed to negative news and stressful information, our brains go into this state of hyper-alertness.
Right.
This triggers the release of stress hormones like cortisol, which over time can lead to a whole host of problems.
Yeah.
Anxiety, depression, sleep disturbances, even impaired cognitive function.
Wow. That's pretty intense. So taking a break from all that input
Yeah.
gives our brains a chance to recalibrate
Right.
and come back to a more balanced state.
Exactly. It allows our nervous systems to calm down, reducing those stress hormones and giving our brains a much-needed break.
Yeah.
And during that break, something really interesting happens.
What's that?
Our brains start to shift from a focus on external stimuli to a more internal focus.
Okay.
This allows for deeper introspection, creativity, and a stronger connection to our intuition.
That makes so much sense. It's like giving ourselves the space to tap into those deeper wells of wisdom and creativity that are often drowned out by the noise of the world. Precisely. And this connects beautifully with Nelson's invitation to connect with a higher power through practices like prayer or meditation.
Right.
These practices also help to quiet the mind and create space for deeper introspection.
It's fascinating how these ideas, even though they come from different perspectives, seem to point towards a similar goal.
Yeah.
Creating space for inner peace and connection.
It really is. And that brings us to another key aspect of Nelson's talk. His emphasis on the power of women's unique gifts and perspectives. We touched on the research on gender differences in communication and empathy earlier, but I think it's worth exploring a bit further.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on this idea of distinct feminine strengths?
Well, I think it's important to acknowledge that these are generalizations.
Of course.
And that there's a lot of individual variation.
Right.
But speaking broadly, I do think there are certain qualities that are often more pronounced in women, like empathy, intuition, and a nurturing instinct.
Yeah.
And I think those qualities are incredibly valuable, especially in today's world.
We live in a society that often prioritizes logic, competition, and individual achievement.
Yeah.
But those feminine qualities, empathy, compassion, collaboration,
Right.
are essential for creating a more harmonious and just world.
Absolutely. And Nelson's talk seems to be calling for a greater recognition and appreciation of those qualities.
It does.
He's essentially saying that women have a crucial role to play in gathering Israel,
Right.
in bringing people together and building a better future.
And that message resonates even if you don't subscribe to the specific religious framework.
It does.
The world needs those qualities now more than ever.
It's a powerful message.
Okay.
Let's shift gears a bit and talk about those 4 specific actions Nelson challenges women to take.
Okay.
We've already discussed the digital detox,
Right.
but he also encourages reading the Book of Mormon and focusing on the Savior's role. Now, I know this might not resonate with everyone, but what are your thoughts on the value of engaging with spiritual texts, even if they're outside your own belief system?
I think there's immense value in exploring different spiritual traditions and wisdom teachings.
Yeah.
It broadens our understanding of the human experience.
Right.
And exposes us to new perspectives on life's big questions.
I totally agree. It's like expanding your mental and spiritual horizons.
Exactly. And you might be surprised by what you discover.
Yeah.
Even if you don't agree with everything you read, you're bound to find nuggets of wisdom and insights that can enrich your own life.
Okay, the third challenge is regular temple attendance to connect with God's power.
All right.
We've talked about the concept of sacred spaces and rituals,
Yeah.
but I'm curious, what are some other ways people can create that sense of sacredness and connection in their lives, even if they don't belong to a specific religion?
That's a great question. There are so many ways to cultivate that sense of the sacred in everyday life.
Yeah.
It could be through spending time in nature,
Uh-huh.
listening to inspiring music,
All right.
engaging in creative pursuits,
Yeah.
or simply practicing mindfulness and gratitude.
Those are all wonderful examples. It's about finding those practices that help you tap into that deeper sense of awe,
Right.
wonder, and connection.
And remember, it doesn't have to be elaborate or complicated.
Yeah.
Sometimes the simplest things can be the most powerful.
Absolutely. Okay, and the final action Nelson encourages is full participation in Relief Society
Okay.
and studying its purpose statement.
Right.
Now, we've talked about how Relief Society mirrors the aims of many secular women's organizations,
Mm-hmm.
but what specifically can people learn from studying its purpose statement,
Oh.
even if they're not members of the church?
The Relief Society's purpose statement emphasizes principles of service,
Huh?
personal growth, and building strong communities.
Mm.
These are values that resonate far beyond any specific religious context.
Right. It's about empowering women to make a difference in their own lives and in the world around them.
Exactly.
And that's something we can all get behind.
Absolutely. It's about recognizing the strength and resilience of women
Yeah.
and creating spaces where they can support and uplift one another.
So we've explored these 4 specific actions Nelson challenges women to take.
Right.
But I think the real takeaway here is that there are countless ways to apply these principles to our own lives.
Yeah,
Regardless of our gender or beliefs.
exactly. It's about finding what resonates with you
Right.
and creating your own unique path towards personal growth and spiritual fulfillment.
It's about embracing those qualities that make you uniquely you and using them to make a positive impact on the world.
I love that.
Wow. It's like we've been on this incredible journey, taking this talk that was initially directed at a specific audience and discovering all these universal truths that resonate with everyone.
It's amazing how these seemingly specific ideas about motherhood and spiritual gifts and even digital detoxes can spark such profound reflections on our own lives and purpose.
It really shows that wisdom and insight can come from such unexpected places. And sometimes it's those sources that challenge our assumptions the most, that lead to the most powerful breakthroughs.
I couldn't agree more. It's like those moments when you're reading a book or having a conversation and suddenly a new perspective clicks into place,
Right.
shifting your entire worldview.
Exactly. And that's what I love about deep dives like this.
Me too.
They push us to think beyond our usual boundaries and to consider new possibilities.
They invite us to engage with ideas that might initially seem unfamiliar or even challenging, and to find those nuggets of truth that resonate with our own experiences.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, let's bring it back to you, our listener.
Okay.
What are you taking away from this exploration? What ideas have sparked your curiosity or challenged your assumptions?
What insights resonate most deeply with your own journey of self-discovery and purpose?
We've covered a lot of ground, from the power of women's unique gifts to the importance of creating sacred space in our lives.
Right.
We've explored the impact of digital overload and the benefits of connecting with our spiritual side.
And through it all, we've seen how seemingly disparate ideas can connect in surprising ways, illuminating those universal truths that bind us together as human beings.
So as you go about your day, we encourage you to hold these ideas in your heart.
Yeah.
Let them spark your curiosity, challenge your assumptions, and guide you towards a deeper understanding of yourself and your place in the world.
Remember, the journey of self-discovery is ongoing.
It really is.
There's always more to learn, more to explore, and more to uncover.
And sometimes the most profound insights come from those moments when we're willing to dive deep and embrace the unknown.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for being here with us.
We hope it sparks something within you, a sense of wonder, a thirst for knowledge, or a renewed commitment to living a life filled with purpose and meaning.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.